He sang as he watched and waited till his Billy Boy. Come along, sing Matilda with me. Down came a jumbuck to drink at the billabong. Up jumped the swagman and grabbed him with glee. He sang as he shoved that jumbuck in his thunder bag. You come a waltzing Matilda with me. Waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda. You come a waltzing Matilda with me. He sang as he shoved that jumbuck in his thunder bag. You come a waltzing Matilda with me.
We are upset to hear the closure of the Aboriginal towns, and it gives us great sadness that the government is yet refusing to recognise this. So firstly, can everyone please stand and we'll do the national anthem. introduce our first speaker, Sherman Burgess, but you all know him as the Great Aussie Patriot. Sherman.
Look at everyone here today, many different flags, Eureka flag, Aboriginal flag, boxing kangaroo flag, everything. Yes! Now I've got a speech written out so I didn't forget anything. Alright, here we go. Now I haven't done much public speaking as you know, mostly in front of the camera on Facebook. Here we go. G'day Patriots and welcome to Reclaim Australia, Sydney. Many of you know me as the Great Aussie Patriot. We know why we are all gathered here today. That reason is because we have a government that thinks they are public masters and have forgotten that they are public servants. Each year they give themselves a pay rise while the hard-working Australians see less tax every year and have to work longer hours to support their families. On top of all this, we have an extreme ideology called Islam starting to gain a foothold in our societies. We have seen atrocities such as the Scaff brothers rape gang who terrorised this city by kidnapping teenage Aussie girls and taking turns gang raping them. When one of their female victims asked, "Why are you doing this?" their reply was, "Because you are Australian." We have also seen the attempt by 4 Islamists who had assault rifles and were going to storm Holsworthy Army Base and kill as many people as they could before being killed themselves. Luckily, our boys at ASIO stopped them. 7 Islamists plan to blow up the Melbourne cricket ground on grand final day. Had they succeeded, they would have killed thousands of men, women and children. One of the men involved had been living in Australia for 19 years on welfare payments. We have extreme Islamic hate preachers such as Sadiq Conlon, who says one day the black flag of Islam will fly over Parliament House. It'll never ever happen. He also runs a website called Sharia for Australia. This same vile man was caught with the possession of child pornography. Another backward 7th century Sharia law promoting preacher is Sheikh Halali. This man was the Grand Mufti of Australia. He openly stated that if an Australian woman is raped by a Muslim, then it is her fault as she is simply uncovered meat. We have Sheikh Faiz Mohammed, who openly stated that Muslims should raise their children as soldiers defending Islam and that there is nothing more beloved for them to die as a mujahideen, and the jihad is the summit of Islam. Now we are standing in the very place just up the road there where the Lynn Cafe siege happened and 2 Australians were killed. Man Monis, I'm sure you are all familiar with this man. The media wrote it off as a lone wolf attack. This is a blatant lie, as Man Monis had over 30,000 followers on his Facebook page. Supporting his extreme views. Sounds like a wolf pack to me, mate. We live in a democracy. Sharia law is the complete opposite of our cultural values and freedoms. Our government is cancelling passports of those trying to leave the country to join Islamic State. Now these people can never leave, which means the only place they can behead an infidel or blow up a crowded building is right here in Australia. I have an idea for the Australian government. Why don't you let them leave to fight for Islamic State, then cancel their passports so they can never return to harm anyone in this nation ever? Or preach their vile hate in the mosques when they return and radicalise the more moderate Muslims to their ideological way of thinking. Now, before the media and far left-wing appeasers get upset and say there is extremists in every religion, let me ask you this. When was the last time you seen a Buddhist go around raping an uncovered woman because Buddha told him to? Or even ask yourself, when was the last time you saw a Christian run onto a school bus and yell out Jesus is great before detonating a suicide vest and blowing everyone up? We keep being told over and over again by Islamic leaders that Islam is a religion of peace. Yet since 9/11, there have been over 24,000 terrorist attacks committed in the name of Allah. This is higher than the attack of all other religious sects combined. Now, out of the world's 1.5 billion Muslims that live on this planet, only 15 to 20% of them are extremists. Yet 15 to 20% is around 300 million extremist Muslims who are dedicated to the takeover and downfall of Western civilization. Now, Muslims have an average of 5 to 8 children per family. So the number of extremists raising all their kids with this point of view is only going to more than triple the number of extremists. Just think, 300 million Islamic extremists. That is the population of the entire USA. And in years to come, that number will triple. I urge the Australian government to act and act now. Halal funds made through halal taxes on our halal certified food are being funneled to extremist organisations, funding our own demise. We live in Australia and our soldiers have been told it is dangerous to wear their uniform off base as it could make them the target of an Islamic terrorist attack. We need to wake up and wake up now. While we have 400,000 homeless Australian adults and 17,000 homeless children who need our help, our government would rather send millions of dollars over to Iran, Afghanistan and Egypt instead of helping those in our own backyard. And they continue to ignore many youth from the Aboriginal community who could do with the money instead of joining street gangs, do something to help them. Yet they'd rather spend the money on an Islamic museum in Australia. Built with our tax money, by the way. Why don't you spend the money saving Aboriginal communities instead? Now, with all that said, I love all Australians regardless of skin colour. I love my country and this is a cause I will continue to fight for, and I will not back down to anyone. I'm the great Aussie patriot. Thank you for attending. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie! Aussie! Aussie, Aussie! Aussie, Aussie, Aussie! Thank you.
I'm not this tall. Hi, you might remember me. I was the Sydney tissue lady who was here for 5 days post the terrorist attack we had on the Link Cafe. Can you hear me up the back? Can you hear me up the back? Aussie, Aussie, Aussie! Okay, you can hear me. Okay, just to repeat again, I was the Sydney tissue lady who was here post the terrorist attack in Martin Place on the Link Cafe on the 16th of December last year. I witnessed our people, Sydney, come and do Australia proud as we laid all this floral tribute to those innocent lives some 12 years ago last January, and I finished my 10-hour shift there, walked down to my car with security, got into my car, and later on was pulled out of my car by 6 Arabic-speaking males who pulled me out of my car, bashed and raped me repeatedly, and put me in hospital for 4.5 months with 79 fractures. I got out of that hospital to a women's refuge only to leave there and be homeless. On the streets, I witnessed carloads of Muslim men. Yes, I identify them by their headwear, their beards and their dress, who would set fire to the homeless men, who would kick the shit out of us just because we were on the streets. They had nothing better to do but to terrorise us from ground level. If you are Australian, if you believe in our country, then you need to stand up here and around Australia and remove Shara law. Let me tell you, while I was a nurse for 20 years, I witnessed female castration to 9-year-olds. Yes, they were coming in our casualty doors. Don't think for 1 minute that does not exist in Australia. It is here in Sydney, and it's got to stop. Don't think for 1 minute, Tony Abbott, that we are okay with HALA certification. We are not. We are not okay with the slaughter of our animals in this HALA way. We are not okay, Tony Abbott. You are our public servant and you work for us. It is not okay to come to our country. Sorry, I bit my lip. It is not okay to come to our country and decide you'll bring your law. No. We opened our doors, we opened our arms and offered you a better life. Don't come to our country with your hidden agenda. You live here under Australian law. You live here under our law. If you are practicing Shara law in our country, you are committing treason, and you should be deported or jailed for life. If you do not want your daughter, your wife, your children, boy or girl, because while I was homeless on the street, I witnessed what they call a black brothel, and yes, they exist. These are brothels where children are prostituted for large sums of money every night. They are stolen children off the street. It exists. The police will tell you. The police will tell you a lot of things that you won't want to hear. If you want Australia, to be this wonderful country, then out Shara law and Abbott, you work for us. Thank you.
Hey!
of our Reclaim Australia Rally website. Is that better? However, he was asked to speak within a short time frame and believed that most of these topics require more time. He suggested to the organising committee about the possibility of further meetings, say at Parramatta Town Hall or where we could find a suitable venue. This was to give time to go into appropriate detail for each of the topics that you are interested in. So, at the end of each point, would you indicate by saying yes loudly so the organisers can gauge how many people would be interested in coming to another meeting, which particular point you would like more details on. Thank you for your help. Norm Bishop.
Good morning. I'm sorry for the weather. I thought I was in Melbourne. I represent the Rise Up Australia Party in New South Wales. We stand for keeping Australia in Australian hands. For instance, 51% ownership of all Australian infrastructure. We are one culture, the Australian culture and way of life. We have one law, the Australian law, based on the Australian Constitution. This is what all new Australian citizens agree to under oath as part of their citizenship ceremony. We acknowledge and support multi-ethnicity. We protect the traditional family unit of father, mother and children. Now to come to the points on the Reclaim Australia website. We now exercise the rights of the majority of Australians. Hey, I understand Muslims are not more than 2.5% of the Australian population. We are here to stop Sharia law throughout the whole of Australia and all of its territories. To make Sharia law illegal in every state and territory. We don't want to end up like many countries in the European Union. In France, over 500 no-go zones exist for French citizens. I find the issue very offensive to me personally, as one born here of Australian parents. It says that our laws and constitution is not good enough for them. I say to them, if you don't like our laws, don't say that you agree to them under oath when you become Australian citizens. If you're offended by them, then please go to a place where the laws agree with your desired way of life. Keep our traditional values. That is Christmas, Easter, Australia Day, Anzac Day, and our other benefits that a large number of Australians have grown up with. Yes? Keep our rights and freedom of speech. Halal certification is to be banned and made illegal in all of Australia. This is actually level 4 of Sharia law. This is an illegal and a secret tax on our food that comes out of our pockets and purses. Too many manufacturers are producing halal foods, not always labelled that way, and kindly pass on the cost of the certification to us, the consumers, and the revenue, I've been told, going to the state certifying committee. But actually there's there's an interesting comment on that, is that the committee itself, at one stage, I don't know whether it's been rectified, haven't got the necessary qualified people to actually certify some of the foods. And in fact, there could be pork in their processed meats. This raises a serious issue. There are many members of our diverse community that are required not to eat halal certified foods. There are our friends, the Sikhs, the Israelis and Christians, and there's possibly others. A second issue is one of our Australian iconic foods, Vegemite. The formula for this icon has been changed, so I am told, to make it halal certifiable. But there's a consequence. Vegemite is no longer stable for long periods of time. In fact, it is likely to go off even before you pick it up from the supermarket shelves and put it in your trolley, so be careful. If the market is viable for less than 2.5% of the population that are Muslim, then let it be marketed to them with their own particular brand name, but bring Vegemite back. We are the 97.5% majority of consumers that demand it. The issue of halal certification has been with us since 1983, over 30 years. Please refuse to buy halal certified foods. Please check the label for their certification mark, even on Australian chocolates made in Tasmania. If your butcher... Ask your butcher about whether his meat is halal certified. I'll go into that on another opportunity. Some say the value of the money paid for certification goes to charitable institutions in the Middle East. And then I understand it flows to Islamic war effort. At one count, 22 of the world conflicts, Islam was involved in all but one of these conflicts, possibly supported by your hard-earned money. I remind you that we, the majority of Australians, are speaking up. It's difficult to find any chicken that is not halal certified. If this tax is an economic factor built into the Commonwealth Government framework to raise its income, then I remove the right to use this factor now and command that it be no longer used. We're talking about the framing of the federal budget right now. Any minister that hides this fact, that it is being used when it shouldn't be used, is to be exposed and removed from office. We want to introduce back the pride of the Australian flag and the singing of our national anthem at all levels of schools, from preschool to university. A black and white flag is no substitute for the Australian flag. Many Australians have died for the honour and respect that this flag brings and represents. We ban the teaching of Islam in all government schools. There are many Islamic schools for this purpose to meet the needs of the almost 2.5% of our population. We want to ban the burqa and any variant thereof. last time, like the attack yesterday on the university in Kenya. 147 people were killed. An Islamic group has acknowledged responsibility for that attack. I'm not saying that this attack is based around the wearing of the burqa, but that we're living in troublous times. We need to know whether a person is a man or a woman, and if there are. I was at a meeting a couple of years ago, and we're presented with 4 people dressed in burqas. I couldn't tell them the difference, although it ended up I knew a couple of them, whether they were male or female, or what sort of armaments they were hiding. Immediately stop settling recognition of multi-wives in families, and only recognise the first marriage and the benefits for that wife and her children. Lastly, ban the horrific, barbaric practice of female genital mutilation. An introduction of a 10-year mandatory term for perpetrators and organisers of FGM. This includes those who send girls for female circumcision, as it is called. This includes mothers and grandmothers who send their daughters and granddaughters overseas to have FGM carried out in other countries. Once their 10-year mandatory jail term has been completed, their citizenship and Australian passport should be cancelled, and they must be immediately deported back to their country of origin. Medically, there are 4 levels of FGM. Often the front section is sewn up, leaving a small opening to pass water. Socially, it means mostly that the lady can never enjoy sexual relationships. Generally, it's a painful process. The birthing process complications. Collard scars are the result in obstructed labour that can result in fetal death, fistula, hence postpartum hemorrhage and caesarean section. And then there is the pressure from the family to be re-sewn up after each birth. This practice is illegal in Australia. Thank you for listening to me, and those issues affect seriously our Australian way of life. And finally, I want to support my brothers and sisters who are the original Australians. They need our support, and they will get it.
All the victims of terrorism. 1 minute silence starting now. I've been following a site called thereligionofpeace.com, and they list terrorist attacks done every month and every year. In February, a whole 28 days, there were 262 terrorist attacks around the world for the name of Islam. That many in 28 days. Over 3,000 people were killed. So I'm going to introduce Jamie, another one of our organisers, and she's going to tell you a little bit more information.
Hi, thank you. I would like to say a few words for a lady who would like to stay anonymous. This is what she has to say. I work in the Australian correctional facilities where Muslims are massively recruiting other inmates. They are demanding prayer times and halal food above and beyond normal routine. Our government gives in due to threats from the Muslim inmates. Inmates who don't convert are targeted and attacked. Even in our jails, Australians aren't safe from the grasps of Islamic extremism. We need to stop this. We need to reclaim Australia. It's time for us to stand up and be proud of who we are. We are Australians. We are multinational. We come from all races. So let's leave this for today.
Alright, Kat would like to come up and say a little bit more, so we're going to let her have a say, and then I'm going to do a wrap-up speech.
Hi everyone, I'm a woman, I've got to have the last word. Okay, now if you want to help, if you want the most effective way to help, is don't go away from here feeling angry, upset. We all are every day. But don't go away from here feeling that way. Stay focused, get onto your Facebook, become one of those cyber warriors or whatever they are. Get onto your politicians. Let our government know how you feel. That's our best way. And stand together. Let's get on Facebook together. Let's be one. But let's leave here with a positive output, with a positive note that we have made some movement forward.
Okay, everyone, we're going to wrap it up here. I mean, we are all drenched after all. Hey,
how about a big round of applause for these girls and guys who organised this? Hey, champions! This is awesome. This is absolutely awesome.
This is Australia.
I'd like to thank you. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out in the pouring rain. You guys are awesome! I would like to thank the New South Wales Police for coming out in the rain again. Alright, so we're going to ask everyone to please leave peacefully. Do not engage the opposition. I repeat, do not engage the opposition. Exactly!
You'll be racist! We will be racist!
Yeah, you will be. So please, keep your mouth shut, just walk away, let them be the idiots. Alright? Let them be the idiots, not us. Alright, can everyone... I love you guys. Okay, so if you're going by public transport, can you please leave going towards Wynyard Station? Not Martin Place, go Wynyard Station.
safer. Again, thank you all so much. You are all legends.
I did it again, baby. Yeah!
Tune in tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Bye for now.